Hi, today I want to talk to you about a question that we had that came up in the training the other day. As you know, if you're a gold member of the Can Do Equine training, we meet twice a week and we talk about any issues that members are having at the time. And somebody came up with a great question. They've been working their way through the trailer loading module of the training, which is really comprehensive. And they've obviously done a fantastic job because their horse was getting onto the trailer really nicely and backing off very slowly as well. But they were at the stage now where they wanted to close the back gate and put the ramp up and actually drive off. So the first question was, when they first start taking their horse out, where should they go? Should they go just for a short trip, which we decided was definitely the best thing to do. If you can load your horse up and go for a 5-minute trip, then that is absolutely brilliant. And also unload the horse back home. So rather than going somewhere and taking the horse off at a new environment, unload it in the familiar environment for the first few times that you take it for a trip, because it's going to be much easier for the horse. You can think of it a bit like getting into an elevator. The doors close, and when they reopen, it's okay for us. We're on a new floor, and that's okay for us. But for the horse, that can be quite scary. So for that elevator thing, you want the elevator opening right back home where the horse feels safe and secure. So the other thing was another member had a horse that was getting on okay, but it was actually coming off before they could do up the back. Now, you really don't want to be trying to do the back of the trailer up if you haven't got self-carriage and standing on the trailer. And what I mean by self-carriage and standing on the trailer is that the horse actually stands still and waits until you ask it to come off again. And self-carriage, when we think about self-carriage, we often think about the horse in the dressage arena in a particular frame or posture. But that's really not what self-carriage is all about. Self-carriage applies to everything we do with the horse. And, from leading the horse to riding a canter circle to picking up the horse's feet. And what it really means is it means that the horse stays doing what you've asked it to do until you ask it to do something else. So if the horse is coming off the trailer before you've asked it to, then it's not in self-carriage. So what you need to do then is work on that bit that's going wrong. So your horse is coming off before it's asked to, so you need to work on that. So great job getting the horse up to the front of the trailer. Now what you need to do is make sure that you're moving around a little bit. So what happens quite often with horses, if we're a bit worried about them, we tend to go around very quietly. We don't want to upset the horse. So we get it on the trailer, and then we realize that what's actually happening is when you then move, that's the first thing you do before you ask it off. And so the moving becomes the signal for the horse to come off. So what I find myself doing quite often with trailer loading is actually moving around quite a bit when the horse is standing there. So I pat the horse on the rump, I move up and pat it around the neck, and then I go back to the rump. And all the time I'm sort of scraping my feet on the floor and I'm banging about a bit. And then I have a really, really clear cue which says back off. So I ask the horse with this really clear signal to back off, and everything else, all my moving around, begins to mean nothing to the horse, and it waits for that really clear signal. That also means that I can get off the trailer and I can go round to the front and come in that door at the front, for example. And all the time the horse just stands because he's waiting for that cue when I ask him to back off. He's not backing off before I've asked him to back off. So that's the way you do it. And then you break down the closing the barrier. So what you do is rather than just shut it up, you break it down. So you start moving that central divider across, because that makes a bit of noise and has to come up against the horse. If at any time the horse starts to back off, the two choices, you can either back it off all the way and then ask it straight back on. And you'll have to just make this call when you're in the situation. Sometimes if the horse is going a little bit fast, it's better to back the horse off the whole way. What you don't want to do is set up either of these two situations. One is where you're rushing the horse off backwards because you never want the horse to go fast backwards. You only want the horse to go slowly. And the other one is allowing the horse just to take one little step backwards so that like one hind foot is just on the ramp, which means you can't do the back up. Okay, so again, that's not in self-carriage. So if the horse is taking one little step off, you can either back it off a little bit further and then ask it forward and let it rest. You can back it off all the way off till both front feet are off the ramp and then ask it back on again and let it rest there. So you just have to keep repeating that until the horse understands that it needs to wait for that very clear, now it's time to back off cue. So once you've done that and you've moved the barrier across and you've been able to move the barrier across and you get off and then you wait and then you ask the horse off, all of these things. So the horse is really understanding. It's a matter of having the horse understand that you stand still until you're asked to walk backwards. Then you can do it up. If you've got just a chain, some floats have a chain that does the back of the horse before you do the ramp up. I really don't like those very much. I don't think they're very safe, especially a small horse or any horse really. They can get stuck into those quite easily. So I wouldn't use that for training. I'd move the central barrier across and then put the ramp up. Okay, again, you can break that down to, make it really simple for the horse, make it really easy to understand for the horse by breaking it down into digestible bits for the horse. It might be a matter of, first of all, getting off the ramp yourself, going around to the front, make sure the horse is still there, and you might want to lift the ramp a little bit and put it back down again. It's just a matter of making sure that the horse isn't anxious, because a horse that is anxious is going to want to back off that trailer. And so your job often, especially with a horse that's learned to run off backwards, your job more often than not is actually teaching the horse to back off the trailer, not get on the trailer. Really getting on is the easy bit. And I hear a lot of people say, oh, my horse is fine about getting on. But once he's on, he runs off backwards and it's really dangerous. And it's really dangerous. And so your horse isn't worried about getting on, it's worried about getting off. And what happens, as horses always do, they skip the middle bit of that pattern, which is the standing quietly on the trailer. It doesn't mind getting on, but it knows when it gets on, it's got to get off. So it tries to do that really fast. And that is when it becomes dangerous. It's a bit like the horse that pulls back when it's tied up. Now, the horse knows that it's going to hurt, so it starts to pull back quicker and quicker and quicker. And that is often the case if you tie to baling twine or something. The horse, it still hurts when you tie to baling twine, and the horse knows it's going to hurt, so it pulls back just as soon as you tighten it, as soon as you tie it up. Quite often the horse that's developed that habit will do it really, really fast. And the trailer loading is the same thing. So you're not teaching the horse to get on, you're teaching it really to get off. And that's why in the Can Do Gold training, I teach the horse very carefully. 1 foot on, 1 foot off. 2 feet on, 2 feet off. And that way the horse is learning to get on and to get off, which is the difficult part, all at the same time. So I will see you tomorrow. If you have a question or a problem you've been having with your horse, please do let me know, because I'd love to talk about it in this daily training. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so and send it to your friends. And this also should be on Facebook, so please do go and like Can Do Equine. And I will see you soon. Bye.